Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Retailers United Help America Stay Open pitch event, powered by Coresight Research and sponsored by RevTech Ventures. Here's your host, Deborah Weinswig, CEO and founder of Coresight Research.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are so excited for this inaugural event where we have Retailers United partnered with RevTech. On the next slide, what we can see is the agenda for today and what that will look like. We'll talk about Retailers United, we'll introduce the judges, talk about the finalists, go through the pitches, and then introduce the RevTech-backed startups, and then the awards, right, which we're all waiting for. All right. These are the partners very early on. Many of us who are on the board, the advisory board, many of our judges, everyone was so instrumental in terms of pulling together all of these amazing partners to truly lay the foundation for Retailers United, but also to drive inspiration and funding, right? Because this is definitely an organization, we've already given away a significant amount of grants, and we'll talk a little bit later in the following slides in terms of what that's meant for us. This is a little bit about, whom we are, a very passionate, I think is the really perfect word, group of individuals across retail, fashion, and technologies. And we came together to really, as I said, keep America open, but to provide, kind of not only grants, because that's phenomenal, but the mentorship we've found has really been critical during this time to help those companies who are younger, smaller, emerging technology, emerging fashion companies really kind of make it to the other side. And we have some great examples of some of the work that we've done. This is, kind of really, this is the one slide you should imprint in your mind, because it shows what we've actually been able to do in terms of, not only with the grants, but also with the mentorship. So Cecilia from Tubesies was our first place winner last time. She's been on Good Morning America, amazing press. We've seen from George at Kinshow, who is really redesigning his entire supply chain, how he makes his product, but also how he sources it, and is not only seeing really strong, I would say, margins, but also better upsell. And then, number 3, Piper Cochrane, the Organic Candy Factory. If anyone likes gummy bears, hers are absolutely the best. She was acquired by Vertical Wellness in November, which is truly phenomenal. And then our original grant recipient, really one of the individuals who showed us what we could do, Ruben Singer, he's been featured on QVC after receiving the grant, and we've helped him with his social, with his website. It's truly been a labor of love for many of us. And we just urge you, and we will throughout, to donate to help these amazing companies at retailersunited.org. And so here's our kind of show for today. I'll be emceeing. We've got 5 truly distinguished judges. We have Padmaja Bommareddy, who I've known for many years, first from the startup, and now she's really directing the future of Walmart's apparel business. For those of you who don't know Maxine Clark, she's the founder and former CEO of Build-A-Bear Workshop, but she also does a significant amount of mentoring of startups, and it is truly a wonderful part of the community, not only from the retail and fashion perspective, but also from the technology. Nick Graham, who really needs no introduction, the founder of Joe Boxer. He now has a company called Airband that he's working very closely with Global Brands Group, and always a step ahead of all of us. And then David Matthews, whom today would not have been possible in terms of the grant. He is from RevTech Ventures. He is sponsoring today's event. And then we have Mazdack Rassi, co-founder and chief brand officer of Milk Makeup. Incredibly, I would say his passion, not only for, truly mentorship, but also just for the beauty category and what the future of that looks like. And then here's our finalists. So you'll hear from each of these companies today. We have from Christina, Zabe, Nadine, Marsha, and Lauren. So this is kind of just a bit about what they do, and just to get an understanding, it truly is diverse. We have 2 from the fashion industry, 1 from journalism, and 2 from retail tech. So really this surrounds all of what's important to us in the retail and retail technology space. And we wanted to have, and it was a very, I would say, arduous process to, all of these companies who are pitching, they've already won, right? To go from the significant number of applicants we have down to, I can tell you how difficult it was to go down to 5 finalists because they were all really impressive. And so all of them should be really excited to be here with us today. And our first, we'll be hearing from Christina Litke. Astouri is a digital, stylish, and streetwear-oriented brand. And she's worked incredibly hard to be here with us today. And I hope everyone enjoys hearing her story. And with that, Christina, I'll turn it over to you.
Hi, everyone. I'm honored to be a finalist here today. My name is Christina Litke, and I'm the CEO and founder of Astouri. Astouri is a women's apparel and accessory brand that is hyper-focused on community wear. What is community wear? Essentially, it's disrupting the multi-billion-dollar travel wear market by leveraging iconic city-based photography on high-quality, machine-wash-friendly fabrics with contemporary, easy-to-wear, and seasonless styles to truly allow a woman to show off her city pride. Over 70% of women love where they live and travel to, and yet there's not one brand that is speaking to these women and her community interests. Additionally, the average traveler is not a millennial male. It's a 47-year-old multicultural female who's a size 12. This woman does not want to wear an I Heart New York City t-shirt. She wants to wear garments that best represent where she lives, where she's traveling to, and where she aspires to go to. We have leveraged a smart framework in the design of our products. This means no waste design and being made in America. We are artistically curated with approachable price points. We aspire to have a range of sizing for all women, and we are travel friendly and easy to pack. We support a diverse group of women from our production facilities to our freelancers. We have partnered with the women at the St. Luke New Life Center in Flint, Michigan to produce our garments. These women have been empowered to cut and sew, make an income, support their families, and have garnered much needed self-esteem in the process. Over 80% of our clients are brand loyal, and we have high sales repetition. These women are not just buying for themselves, but they're also gifting others. Additionally, over 50% of our VIP network has become our greatest sales referral network. Prior to COVID, 75% of our sales came from trade shows, trunk shows, and pop-ups. However, during COVID, we've been able to transition 65% of our sales to online by introducing amazing new products like city-printed face masks and winter capes. This has really responded well to the new consumer behavior and demand of this time. Astouri has an unlimited potential for growth due to city expansion. We've built in 70% product markup to seamlessly transition into wholesale, collaborations, and sales affiliate programs. But this can also include sub-brands that could go into QVC, travel retail like airports, as well as licensing through stadiums. With this grant money and this invaluable mentorship we would receive, Astouri could really address the challenges we face today. $3,000 would go into inventory to support sales and distribution growth. $3,000 would go into hiring a commissioned salesperson, and $4,000 would go into amplifying our social media and streamlining our .com platform. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks so much, Christina. Great to hear about your company. My big question for you is, how big do you think your addressable market is, and who are your ideal distribution channels? Because tourist markets typically are quite fragmented, so I'd love to know how big you think the market is and how you think you'll scale quickly.
I think the market, when we look at the products that we're producing, we have a lot of conversion that is happening between the cities that women live in and also the cities they've traveled to, et cetera. So there's quite a large conversion. And although there's fragmentation, we find that we could really address a lot that is going on with what women are seeking. So it's getting into, if we have sales channels like QVC, it's women being able to convert from where they're living, also where they're buying. So it's kind of holistically bringing it together as well.
Christina, what is your distribution currently besides online? Is it any brick and mortar or?
We have some local retailers that we're distributing through. And then we do a lot of pop-ups and private parties. And this is part of our sales affiliate program. So it really is scaling into private clubs, private parties, and get into the local environment.
Right, good.
Right, Christina and judges, thanks so much. Christina, thank you for sharing your story. We're going to bring up our next startup, Zaib Agha, founder of Metrical. Metrical leverages the browsing and shopping behavior of retailers' own data to make predictions about what shoppers are going to do. Wouldn't we all like to know? Metrical allows retailers to engage with shoppers at critical decision points. And with that, I'll turn it over to Zaib.
Hi, everyone. I'm Zaib, the co-founder of Metrical. Thank you for that introduction. Before I start, thank you to Retailers United, Coresight Research, and RevTech Ventures for giving me this opportunity. So what does Metrical do? We are a solution for retailers with an e-commerce presence. We predict the future, and we do it accurately. We predict the behavior of shoppers before they do something. So for example, if someone's about to abandon their online shopping cart and leave without purchasing, we know it, but before they do it. So this gives retailers the opportunity to engage with shoppers in real time while they're still on the retailer site and convert them from a shopper to a buyer. The way that retailers solve this problem today is by trying to get shoppers to come back to their site after they've already left, either with email reminders or retargeting. But with Metrical, retailers can target and engage shoppers earlier in the purchase funnel and more effectively. Today, we have 3 products out in the market, and we're coming out with more in 2021. The first one is Cart Abandonment, which is what I just talked about. The second is Cart Creator, which actually makes people create more shopping carts while they're online, resulting in more conversions. And the third is Smart Micro Surveys. We collect feedback from shoppers with a one-click survey to actually understand why they're abandoning or what kind of behavior they're having and for what reason. So we hear a lot about AI and machine learning nowadays. We are bringing the power of machine learning to retailers of all sizes. What that means is that retailers from the size of Shopify all the way to national brands, we can help them leverage their shopper data in a way that only companies with huge budgets like Walmart or Amazon can. With a boom in e-commerce as a result of the pandemic, we're already seeing a huge demand for our solution, and we think this opportunity is only going to grow more. Our biggest challenges so far have been marketing and PR. We're only a small 5-person company, but if we can get the word out about what we're doing, we're really built to scale, and we can improve the businesses of lots of retailers in 2021 and beyond. The Retailers United grant would be very meaningful to us. To this day, we've done 0 marketing and PR, and now is the time to get the word out about what we can do for retailers, and that's how we would leverage the funds. Also, finally, we're actually raising a seed round. So should anyone in the audience be interested or investing or know people that are investing in the e-commerce space, we'd love to talk to them as well. In the last 3 weeks, we've closed half of our round, and so we're almost there. Again, thank you for giving me this opportunity to be here and to present, and it means a lot to me. Thank you.
I think I saw or heard that JCPenney is a current client, right?
That's right, yes. And actually, thanks to you, because we met them at RevTech in Dallas a couple of years ago at your invitation, and that's how we actually made the connection with them.
Great. Well, unintentional self-promotion, but what type of transaction for pennies is delivering the highest ROI? And does this translate to other retailers similarly?
Yeah, so we actually run a bunch of different types of campaigns with JCPenney's and a whole bunch of other retailers. For Pennies, as an example, one of the things that we found to be very successful is something that we call a bounce back campaign, which really encourages people to buy now, but then also return in the future for some sort of a discount. And we're finding that has some amazing results. When we compare those buyers to a control group, we find that there's a 13% increase in conversion rate. But more interestingly, over 70% of those people are actually coming back within a 5-week period. And when they come back, they're spending typically more than the AOV, the typical AOV. So the big net benefit for JCPenney's in that case has been, higher initial conversion rates, a substantial percentage of return visits, and then a significant additional spend. So they're sort of getting like 2 shots at or 2 bites at the apple.
You said it was as easy for a small retailer as a large retailer, but does the price that you charge work for small retailers as well, so that they can get big like you?
Yeah, so thanks for the question. So we have priced it accordingly. We have our solutions that are available for Shopify, Magento, and BigCommerce so that we can focus on the small and the mid-market. And then we have an enterprise solution, which is what solutions like, which companies like JCPenney's and Reebok use. So our pricing also scales with that. So if you're a smaller retailer, we allow for them to use our platform and be able to leverage our technology, but at a discounted cost that somebody like a huge retailer would pay.
Zaid, thanks so much. Thank you, judges. And we'll move over to our next startup, which is Nadine Fonseca, founder and managing director of Mighty Kind. Mighty Kind is a magazine that was created to inspire a global community of kids who care, and it focuses on kindness and compassion as a foundation for anti-bias. With that, I'll turn the stage over to Nadine.
Thank you. Mighty Kind is an anti-bias education company, and we are on a mission to bring humanity back to humankind, starting with kids. Originally, Mighty Kind started as a personal project for my own children. As a Latina woman and daughter of an immigrant, I knew firsthand what it felt like to have negative assumptions made about me and my family. I refused to allow my own children to grow up not having exposure to a diverse community where they could see that being different wasn't a unique experience, that we're all different in our own way, and allow that to frame their thinking. I quickly found that there were others in need of accessible, open and go materials about diversity. Caregivers and teachers alike were looking for guidance for having scaffolded conversations about race, identity, and otherness that they didn't feel confident in having before. Our children's magazine offers exactly that. As the challenges of 2020 have unfolded, racism and social injustice have come to the forefront in our country. Black Lives Matter, yes. What we are doing gives this message context to help kids internalize it. Mighty Kind magazine may not change yesterday's problems, but it can play a part in tomorrow's solutions, one reader at a time. And that is how we reshape the future. Our publication amplifies diverse perspectives and has over 1,000 readers in our first year, spanning the US and 8 other countries globally. To expand our reach and pivot during COVID, we began offering digital editions. This nimbleness has actually allowed us to start negotiating licensing deals with large digital library apps, which allow us to reach hundreds of thousands of readers in 2021. While digital may appear to be the future of retail and journalism, we have to keep in mind that kids are on screens now more than ever. Caregivers are looking for off-screen options as well. We are finding that as we offer both, it isn't an either-or decision. Many are purchasing both formats. In 2020, children's publishing is a $2 billion market. We have intentionally blended the best of children's books with our timeless content, keepsake quality materials for sustainability and an enduring shelf life, with the loyalty building subscription model of children's magazines for reliable recurring revenue. But our magazine is just the beginning, as we're putting together an advisory board to develop an anti-bias school curriculum based on research and rigor. With this grant money, we're ready to invest in larger scale marketing campaigns to expand our sphere of influence and invest in developing that school curriculum as a new product vertical. By 2022, we plan to integrate charitable giving into our business model because costs should not preclude anyone from access to educational materials. Friends, we are building a movement here, a platform for open discourse around understanding and empathy to bring humanity back into the conversation. I ask each of you here today to go out and get your own copy of Mighty Kind. Even as adults, I guarantee you'll look at the world with a kinder lens having read it. I'm about as tenacious as they come. So while this is a heavy load to bear, prop me up and I'll do the work. The world change is starting today. Join me.
I really appreciate how challenging it is to just meet some of these companies and have to kind of think about what solutions you could offer to them. So that was fantastic. And then once again, everyone in the audience, please vote. Your vote does count. It does make a big difference. And use the polling function, and we'll let you know who the winners are very soon. Thanks, Adam. Next, we'll hear from Benjamin Kelly, or Ben, CEO and co-founder of Singuli. Singuli is a platform to help retailers optimize inventory. With that, I'll turn the floor over to Ben. Thank you.
Thanks, Deborah. So I'm Ben, the CEO and co-founder of Singuli. Singuli is a SaaS inventory optimization platform. We typically work with fashion, apparel, and accessory digital-first retailers. So I want to start by talking about what is inventory optimization. What we're trying to do is make sure that retailers, the flow of the inventory into the business and their assortment optimally meets the demand from the customers. To do this, we have machine learning models that are neatly packaged up in a platform for the merchants and planners inside these organizations to use. We have a number of different solutions, from omni-channel allocation to replenishment to pricing, but I want to talk a little bit today about new product forecasting. So as probably many in the audience know, this forecasting part of retail is very much a mixture of science and art. Apparel especially is driven by aesthetics and trends, and it can be hard to forecast. Our team is primarily made up of scientists and engineers, and so we try to look at things from a very quantitative perspective. And so to give you guys a bit of an analogy, I wanted to use something from finance. So the way to think about merchants and planners and buyers is they are kind of like portfolio managers. They're given a budget, kind of an open to buy, to manage, to spend on inventory. And their goal is to spend those dollars and return back margin dollars, so that through the customers buying the products. And so the metric you can think about is what we call return on inventory investment. People talk about GM ROI. It's very simple. The idea is for every dollar the retailer is spending on inventory at the start of a season, how many margin dollars are they generating? But it's a hard metric to optimize. What can go wrong? Just as in finance, you're dealing with uncertainty. You're trying to forecast, you're trying to see the future, you're trying to know what the customers are going to buy. And the mistakes can be costly. They're essentially of two kinds. Either you're buying too much of something, and so you're buying beyond the demand from your customers, and that results in markdowns. Potentially, you end up having to sell the product at less than it costs to make. Or you end up buying too little of something, and then you have the reverse problem of stockouts. You did all the hard work to get the trend right, you got the silhouettes right, everything's right, but then you didn't lean in heavily enough and you're leaving dollars on the table. And these problems cost retailers hundreds of billions of dollars a year. So to make this more concrete, I want to explain just two very quick examples of how this might work. So if you're a very large retailer, you've got lots of historical data. If you've been digital first, you've been cataloging all this quite nicely. But the current approach is still to kind of look back at historical sales only and layer on trend, kind of this science and art, and then try to forecast what's going to happen. With Singuli, instead, the merchants and planners in these organizations are provided a system that's constantly monitoring the whole business. It's looking at sales, it's looking at product data, it's looking at marketing, it's looking at site traffic, email opens, and using all of this to try and build this very powerful model that's going to try and prognosticate about the future. And retailers see anything from a 30 to 3,000% improvement in the ROI. The system doesn't just work with large brands, so it also works pretty nicely with small brands in a slightly different way. So things like brands like Astouri and Padmaja that we heard about today, who are just getting started, have to make big decisions about what to buy. They might be adding a new silhouette to their assortment, or adding a new option. Every decision they make has dramatic impact. With Singuli, the brands are able to tap into our models and data sets on things like size curves and trends, industry analysis, and make forecasts about what's going to happen and delight their customers. And so that's Singuli in a nutshell.
Great. Thank you so much, Ben. It was a real pleasure to hear all about Singuli, which is truly changing the way that we approach retail. With that, I'd like to bring up our last, I can't believe it flew by, our last presenter from RevTech Ventures, which is Kim Roth. She's the CEO and founder of Topl. Topl is an ESG technology company that enables businesses to prove their ethical and sustainable practices. With that, I'll turn it over to Kim.
Thanks, Deborah, and thank you everyone for having us here today. It is a great pleasure to kind of tell everyone about us, but also I am very interested in diving deep into Astouri, Turn, and Padmaja. But before I start there, I am originally from South Africa. The reason I mention that, the accent sometimes throws people, but I also come from a mining and agricultural background. My family on the one side, diamond mining on the other side, agriculture. And some of the biggest things that I had seen growing up was all these ethical and sustainable practices, claims that people were making. And as we got older, greenwashing just became so much more apparent. So chocolates free of child labor, carbon neutral business practices, sustainable farm to table, meat and veggies, diamonds mined without specific human or environmental costs. All these sustainable and ethical commitments are great and they sound nice, but they mean nothing without proof. So what if I could today tell you that actually this stone right here. This is called the Kim stone. I know the whole journey from source to tell, everything about it from the birthday all the way to when it actually came to me. That the coffee in this cup, no person labored over that died, and no one that actually mined for this diamond had any environmental negative impacts. So I have a few questions now and I know these are unanswered questions, but for instance, what if you can truly know who the woman is that made your apparel, or how you're validating the high quality? How do you guarantee the provenance of that story? How are you validating that it's truly made in America, or confirm that the community is actually being empowered? How do we show transparency and traceability from source to sale for a story? Let's go even further for a story. What if you could share your travels, your journey that you're taking with this apparel, with the woman that made your apparel? What if you could truly be connected from producer to consumer? What if you could even tip the maker or share photos with the maker? That is a technology Topl is building and is providing and enabling people like Astouri to do. How do you know exactly the amount of food waste that is donated back? How do you validate these claims? What is the mechanisms by which you are creating these unique rewards? Just like carbon credits are questions for legitimacy, how do you validate the actual offset of how are you creating tamper-proof evidence that there is a unique event that's reducing GHG emissions? These are all mechanisms by which our technology can help you track that and understand the exact impact you're making on the UN Sustainable Development Goals, such as SDG 12, which is responsible in consumption and production. And you can then sell these food waste credits to organizations with a mission to achieve SDG 12. Further, pulp bag. How do we know that the products are made with real leather? How is the leather sourced? How do we know that the leather is sourced responsibly or ethically? How do we guarantee the provenance of all the components from cow to catwalk? What if we could create, like this diamond, a unique birth certificate for each bag, starting in Tuscany, Italy, and the brand can uniquely brand it all the way as yours? Like my stone is the Kim brand, your bag can be named after you. As you know, like these are the things that Topl enables. We are an ESG technology company, and how it works is ultimately very similar to what Recurate talked about. We have API integrations into existing tracking and tracing solutions that are out there. And if you don't have an existing tracking and tracing solution, what Topl does is what we call BaaS Plus. We do blockchain as a service plus and rethink sustainability as a solution from idea to implementation. How can you use blockchain technology to really reimagine what you want to do? And so that's all from me.
Thank you so much. Very inspirational, especially we at Coresight spend a lot of our time on sustainability, and this is truly one of the critical questions that retailers and brands have. It does appear that our judges are done deliberating. I just want to wrap up today where we've seen such passion along certain themes, whether it was sustainability or anti-bias, or how can, right, this critical relationship between retail technology companies and retailers, and where does one begin and the other end. We're seeing some amazing ideas in terms of how these companies can work together, and all here today. So thank you to all of the judges. Thank you to all the amazing startups. David, thank you to you for your generous grant. And with that, I'm going to turn the floor over to Kay Unger to take us home. For those of you who don't know Kay, she's the former chairwoman of Parsons School of Design and also a designer herself. So with that, Kay, I'll turn the floor over to you.
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited. This has been the most remarkable presentation. I admire all of your courage, problem-solving abilities, forward to utilizing all your products soon. You have extraordinary talent, and just by being finalists, you're winners. Each of you will receive, as you've heard, one-on-one mentorship from our executive and advisory board at Retailers United, and hopefully some of the judges. And we have a wide range of people who are going to be dying to help all of you. We are now so excited to announce the winner of our $10,000 grant I'm actually glad I wasn't one of the judges this time because I don't know if I would have been able to choose. But I want to say that our first place winner is Nadine Fonseca of Mighty Kind. And check out this big check. Congratulations. Please come to the stage, Nadine. We're so excited. I don't know how they do that, but we're going to get you there somehow. Well, we are thrilled, and this is really incredible, but we have a surprise for all of you. We have a second place winner, not a second place, a runner-up. And that's our surprise. So for $2,500, this grant is going to Lauren Clark of Turn. Look at this amazing check. We're so thrilled. So please, if you can come to the stage, this is wonderful. What I'd like to say, each of you, if you would like to say something, we'd love to hear something from you.
Thank you, Kay, so much. And thank you to all the panelists who were involved here and all the judges. Truly at the heart of this, beyond just the grant money and the mentorship opportunity to be able to grow this into something that can change the world, it's so validating to know that this is a priority to others. So truly grateful for that validation and the encouragement and the support we have to look forward to. So thank you all very, very much.
Thank you, Nadine. What about you, Lauren? Would you like to say something?
Congratulations, Nadine, and I love what you're doing as a mom. It's so important. Thank you all so much for hosting this amazing event and for the honor of presenting to you today.
Hey, bravo to all of you. And I have to say, I have 10 grandchildren, so your products, both of you, I plan to use within my life. And I just want to celebrate your hard work and the tremendous preparation you did for today's pitch. In addition, I want to thank all our executive board who tried to coach you, although I don't think you needed much coaching, and our esteemed judges. What an amazing group. David, Maxine, Mazdack, Nick, Padmaja, your expertise and time has really been so valuable to all of us. And I know about the rest of you, I learned so much today. Of course, again, gratitude to David Matthews and RevTech for your sponsorship and sharing your innovative startups, Recurate, Singuli, and Topl. Also to our founder, Deborah Weinswig, and Coresight Research, who powered this event. So I just want to say, let's all help keep America open. Remember, when you go to Retailers United, you can hit that donate button, because I know there's so many more of you out there who could use this help. But now let's celebrate safely, and happy holidays.